Welcome to episode 3 of Manifest Weight Loss, where we take metaphysics and we apply it to weight loss so we can have lasting results. Let's talk about the four quadrants. We mentioned it in previous episodes, but we're going to review it again because this week it's all about connecting to our higher self. Also, we are going to be talking about rituals and habits and the importance of it for especially long-term results, and celebrating our non-scale victories. So that's what we have coming for today's episode. So let's start with our four quadrants again, really what makes up who we are as human beings. So we have our physical self, so we have our body, we have our thoughts, we have our emotions, and we have a non-physical self, which in some regards can be more of a spiritual concept, but also in this case, I'll reference it as higher self. So what exactly are we talking about when we say higher self? Is one way to describe it is when you close your eyes and you meditate and you take your attention, you start to take your attention off of your life, the day-to-day things that are happening for you, and you disappear maybe some thoughts that happen, and you no longer have attention on any feelings. So once you're no longer witnessing thoughts, feelings, you're no body, you're in a sense of no time, nowhere. What happens when all that goes away? Really, what's left is who we say in metaphysics is who we really are, which is ultimately we are awareness. We are the ultimate observer. So without feeling like you're in your body, without having any thoughts, there's this presence, and that is who we are. And and so that's the non-physical self. And ultimately, when we are truly without any barriers, in an ultimate observer mode, free from judgment, free from thoughts, free from feelings. We are who we ultimately are, which is pure awareness, and also known as our higher self. So when we can take away all of the stuff that can get in the way, when all that's gone, all that's left is just this pure, beautiful observer self that see things as they really are, which means we are fully in freedom to be, and we call that our higher self. So when we experience that place where we can be with everything as it is, which is the goal at some point for many, it's a journey to find that inner place, that connect to that self, that true self. That part's the journey as well. As we go through life, we are younger, things happen. We learn quickly when we're younger that there are pleasurable moments and painful moments. And if you put your finger on the hot stove, you learn quickly we don't like that feeling, and so we will avoid that again. We will put that in our memory bank that says don't touch that again. But that also goes for incidences that we've had with interactions with other human beings. They might have called us names in the past and we've been hurt by people. And so that also gets stored as thoughts where we're like, we want to avoid that as well. So as we go through life, a series of events happen that has us kind of armor up, that says, okay, we want to avoid that pain and we want to seek that pleasure. And left unexamined, that can be a good life. You go through life and you avoid the pain and you seek the pleasure. But there is something more to life, because when we operate only from the set of circumstances of avoiding pain and seeking pleasure, there are limitations. And those limitations start to we can get confronted by them and start to see them as a barrier for, well, what can happen if we didn't have that anymore? What if we didn't have those set of circumstances? What else could be available? So through the journey of metaphysics and examining our past experiences, our belief systems, our what has us operate in certain circumstances one way, and we start to really see how we've limited ourselves. In the world of weight loss, we also have a set of circumstances based on our past. And so when we go through a journey, especially one where we want to take on something new, we want to experience something we've never had before, or experience something that we've had in the past, but it's not there anymore, we ultimately will get bump up against these constricted thoughts, feelings, and experiences. And so, why I'm saying all this is because when we can connect ultimately to our higher self, that through meditation, through slowing down, through taking time, setting time aside for us to connect with this self that's inside of us, free from the conformity. The more we can get access there, the easier it gets, and also the quicker we can get there. And the more we sit in and connect with our higher self, the one that really sees beyond the limitations, the easier we can create new ways past and through our belief systems. And so creating a space where during our weight loss journey, at the same time, we build a special space for us to connect to this higher self, really starts to build a muscle that will be forever. And what this muscle is that creating who we really are, reconnecting to this inner self that really has unlimited potential and who can see something through it all. And I love the one that lights me up is the one that says anything is possible. So when I feel like something's not possible, I'm not in my higher self. If I can take a circumstance and ask myself, okay, if anything's possible, how can this be? I know I'm getting closer to my higher self because I'm saying these limitations that are here are not going to stop me. And I want to move through. So help me. And so building ourselves a special time and space where we can slow down life, disconnect from circumstance, connect inside, take deep breaths, slow things down, get our body into a space of feeling safe so that it can relax and start to really open up and build that connection inward is going to be the building block for our future, because when we can connect to the higher self, we can hear the messages. The higher self is the source closest to the all of it, the universe, the higher the universe, the universal intelligence, whatever you want to call it. Our higher self is the closest connection. So when we can connect within, we can connect with source. The messages from source can come quicker when we are open, and ultimately in the opening space of I'm ready, I'm listening, I'm actively prepared for and almost leaning in and excited for, show me the next step, I'm here, I'm open. So the openness is a space that we can get to so that we can ultimately hear what we need, and source can communicate. How it pertains to weight loss is that we're on a journey, and we're we're wanting that space when we wake up in the morning and we have this grand vision of where we're headed. I assert we want it with ease. We want it with effortlessness. We want it to just, be nice if it could just happen. That would be the ultimate. So we want to do the work. We want to do the connection to our higher self so that we can be the most open to source. So that leans into the next piece around why we create ritual and habit. So ritual for me means anchoring ourselves in a set of actions that are intended to have us really be ultimately connected to our inner self, to our higher self, connected to the universe, open and ready to take inspired action. And in the 12-week metaphysics course, one of the key components is to meditate for 5 minutes and visualize for 5 minutes and read a source document, which takes about 3 or 4 minutes. Anchoring ourselves in that space, whether it's first thing in the morning or midday, is the symbolic gesture of manifestation and the action that you take. So when I sit down and meditate for 5 minutes, not only am I actually meditating, but I'm also placing my attention on what ultimately I'm intending, which is weight loss, connection to self, being guided. Like there's so much more than just the meditation. I am also communicating with source saying this is important to me and I'm dedicating this time for this bigger purpose. So for yourself, like when I say the word ritual, what does that evoke for you? Some people, it's creating an altar where they visually can see it, sit in front of, and have symbolic pieces around that remind them of the connection that we're creating. Other people, it's doing some sort of yoga practice or a walking meditation or running or something that they consistently show up for, and they also place that message that's like, when I do this, it's because of this bigger picture I'm creating. And so it doesn't just become running. It doesn't just become walking. It's the intention behind it and the message that we're giving. And so what rituals can you see if you sit with yourself and just really be with the word ritual? What shows up for you? And can you create that for yourself and make that commitment, that declaration that this is what I'm taking on? And when you think about it, let's talk about habits as well. When we really get clear on like how things manifest, it really can come down to the building blocks of daily action. So imagine if somebody set out to do eat certain food that day and do a certain exercise that day and it fit for them and they did it consistently for a period of time, over time the result will be there. And every day we wake up and we take action. We go to work, we choose the foods we eat, we communicate with the people we communicate for. If you really write down what your day-to-day looks like and then analyze it and see what is the impact of those actions long term, we could get a picture of where we're headed. And so if we can look at the day as a bunch of habits that we can create, we really effectively can start to hone in on what habits fit for us, which ones call to us, which ones feel right, And especially if they're in line with your bigger picture, your big why and your visualization project, like what it is you're ultimately here for. Can you look at your day-to-day habits and see, do they still fit? And if you feel like they don't fit, let's just take the example of, you wake up at midnight or you're just about to go to bed and you always have the habit of the midnight snack. And when you go to bed, you're full or whatever the experience is, like, whatever it is for you. I'm just giving an example. But if like deep down, if I ask you, like, come on, give yourself, like, let's just get real here. Is that serving you? Is that fitting for you? Is this a, is this in line with what you really want? Being truthful to yourself, you'll be able to know. And that's all this is just a check-in. There's no make wrong. It's really a place to just look and just take on. And what I love about this too is that without making yourself wrong and just looking at it as, yeah, it doesn't fit for me. And right now it feels like I don't have the strength to say no to it. Like if that's a reality for someone, because I've certainly been there myself, is like there's a space where it's like, and I'm not there yet, or it's too hard right now. Um, then we can work on that. And I have an example. In my 20s, I I was addicted to Slurpees. I would have a Slurpee every single day. I was so addicted to them that I couldn't drive by a 7-Eleven without my brain going, oh, Slurpee. And if I hadn't had one yet, it was a sunny day or whatever, or I had a great day, or even if I had a bad day, it was like pull in. Before I knew it, got Slurpee on my way. And I was addicted. And I couldn't even imagine not having one. I remember thinking, would there ever be a day I would drive by a 7-Eleven and not get one? Like I couldn't even fathom it. And I remember really wanting a breakthrough around my weight loss. And that one was the one I just was like, there's no way. I would try for a couple of days, but then it would be like, oh, then I would give in and et cetera, et cetera. And so I remember asking the universe to help me. Just be like, just give me something. And then one day, Tim Hortons, I'm in Canada, came out with ice caps. And I thought, well, if I have an ice cap instead of a Slurpee, it's smaller, there's less sugar, and there's some dairy in there. And I thought, let's just try it. So that was my hook. I was able to get the Tim Hortons instead of the Slurpees. Now, I became soon addicted to the the ice caps, but I was able to drive by the 7-Eleven and not get Slurpees. And then slowly, as I wasn't as addicted to the ice caps as I ever was with the Slurpee. And then I noticed with the ice cap, I could drive by Tim Hortons and not get one. And there'd be days I wouldn't get one. And then there'd be weeks I wouldn't get one. I'd get one and then I would get it. And I'm like, oh, it's so sugary. And lo and behold, slowly, without even really realizing it, I wasn't getting the ice caps and I wasn't even getting the Slurpees. And it was like, yeah, now that period of time was probably 6 months of my life. But 6 months is worth whatever just transformed and it didn't even feel like it was a lot of work either, but it was a process. And I was leaning in to the new messages because of something I created. So the universe works in mysterious ways. And I appreciate that story because number one, it's not a quick fix, and none of it is. But at the same time, that 6 months is a blip in the 20 years of my life since. And I can go months without either of them. And it's fascinating to see like that used to be my life and now it's not. And so for all of us, this type of scenario is available for anything we can think of. So if there's the midnight snack or there's no way I can't have hash browns without my eggs or whatever, I don't know. It's whatever it is that we have a belief system around that we're bumping up against, but we want to move through it. We really can ask Source to guide us, to give us the messages. The more connected we are with our meditations and being open and listening and watching for the signs, and every morning reminding yourself of the visual that you are up to, really, we will be guided along the way. And it can take something and it might require some patience. But 6 months, 3 months, 4 weeks, who knows what it'll be, depending on what it is you're up to. But that is available out of really taking on the process of manifestation. And then finally, this week, it really is also, it's more than the weight and it's more than the scale. It's more than the number. It's more than um, yeah, it's more than the everyday, what am I eating and what am I working out? It's like there's a bigger picture happening too. When we work from our visualization and we ask it to be pulled towards us, things can happen so slowly, kind of like how I shared with the Slurpee thing. It was like I didn't even know it was happening. And so what can really help us along the way is to celebrate anything, anything that feels like a movement towards where you're headed. We want to add some palpable energy there, not only because it can be so easy to miss it, it's so easy to miss the subtle adjustments that are happening. It's like watching our fingernails grow. Like we don't notice it because it's happening so slowly. But if when we can catch it and we can see, wait a second, that's different. Oh, I felt different in that moment than the other moment. Celebrate it. So this week, it's all about celebrating what we call a non-scale victory, NCV, non-scale victory. So it's not about the number on the scale, although, however, if you step on the scale and you're excited, celebrate that too. Don't forget. And it's also about celebrating everything. And if you want to add that to your everyday ritual where you scan your day and find something to celebrate, whether it's saying no to the Slurpee that day or taking or you know taking one bite of something and saying thank you, no thank you, whatever it is, it could be um yeah, it could be so many things. So you want to really scan your day and find and celebrate the small and the big. And there's nothing too small and there's nothing too big. So really giving yourself that space to create celebrations. And so that's what week 3 is all about. It's really about connecting to your higher self more and more. So giving yourself that ritual and habit where you carve out time for yourself, 5 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of visualization, celebrating your wins. And just as a reminder, it's always good to somewhere in your day cultivate gratitude. So scanning your day and what can you be grateful for? If you can pick 3 things to be grateful for, it can create a sense of what could have been just an ordinary day, paints it with quite an extraordinary experience. And it could be from just, taking a moment with your kids are having some alone time, or laughing in of a TV show, and who knows? Who knows? So finding that and being grateful for it is also a way to communicate with the universe that, yes, this is the stuff I love. This is what lights me up. This is what makes me feel good. And when we're grateful for it, it also in turn allows for that to come back to us more and more because we're saying yes. It's almost like training a dog in a way, right? When they do something good and you give them a treat, we're programming them to say, do more of that. And it's the same thing with gratitude. It's like when we see something that we love and we are grateful for it, we're saying, yes, please, more of that. I love that. And it's also a way to say thank you. And that space of gratitude opens up a bigger connection to source as well. So that's what week 3 is all about. Have an incredible week, and I would love to hear from you. So you can comment, like, and subscribe, or share this podcast with anyone else you think this could be of value for. Have a great week. Hey, it's Kelsey from The Junction. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with anyone you think this could be of value to. Also, if you're looking for more accountability and structure around your weight loss and you're enjoying how the metaphysics can really work in your life, I've created a 12-week weight loss course designed for you. It has daily check-ins, daily lessons, questions, and prompts for you to really immerse yourself in the content and have lasting results. Go to junction.today/weight loss to find out more.